Well, good evening. Catherine, members of Congress, Ambassador Dermer, fellow flag and general officers, distinguished guests, David Justman, Michael Nachman, and ladies and gentlemen of the Jewish Institute for National Security Affairs, and especially all of our honorees tonight and their families, many who have come from all over the country to be here. It is indeed an honor for me to be here tonight to present the 2013 Grateful Nation Awards. Before I begin, I want to start off by recognizing, as others have, Senator Mark Kirk, tonight's Henry M. Jackson Distinguished Service Award recipient. Senator Kirk once told the Chicago Tribune that after nearly being killed in a boating accident on Lake Michigan, he felt like he'd been given a second chance in life. And to him, that meant making his life mean something. It meant making a difference through public service. Senator, you have certainly made a difference, and I want to thank you for your tireless work on national security and for being a strong advocate for our veterans and their families. Thank you very, very much, sir. The Grateful Nation Award is presented annually to 6 young warriors who have distinguished themselves through superior conduct and exceptional service to the country. They represent each of the branches of the U.S. military and the U.S. Special Operations Command. This award represents our nation's thanks to our soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines who every day go in harm's way. The recipients are chosen for their sense of duty, their personal and professional sacrifice, their courage under fire, and above all, they represent all that is good and honorable and decent about the American servicemen and women. These values have been embodied by many of the men and women in the audience tonight who have preceded tonight's awardees. Men like General Sid Shacknow. I know Sid is well known to many of you, but for those of you who don't know Sid's story, it's an amazing tribute to courage, perseverance, and faith. As a 10-year-old boy, Sid escaped from a Nazi concentration camp after 3 years in captivity. He nearly died of starvation while in the camp and then fled across Europe on foot to safety, eventually obtaining a visa to the United States. He worked his way through high school, enlisted in the Army, and then earned his commission as an infantry officer. He earned his Special Forces Green Beret and served with distinction in Vietnam, and later returned to Germany to lead a clandestine commando brigade during the Cold War. Rising to the rank of a 2-star general, he went on to command all of the Army Special Forces. Sid, it's an honor to stand before you tonight, and if there is anyone who personifies the values of this award, it is you. Thank you very much, Sid. Also in the audience tonight is Master Sergeant Mark Vomand, who was badly wounded while serving for me in Afghanistan in 2008. After that day, he recovered and returned to the front lines. Mark made 10 more deployments with one of the nation's most elite fighting forces. But on March 28, 2010, he and his military working dog were hit by an IED. His life instantly changed. And like so many of our wounded warriors, Mark has been fighting to find a new balance in his life. The blast left him battling a number of physical problems, including vertigo. With his wife, Colleen, by his side, he has made great progress. In fact, Mark already placed second in the 60-kilometer men's bicycle open race at this year's Warrior Games in Colorado Springs. He finished in 47 minutes, better than just about anybody of full body and not having vertigo. So Mark, it is a great pleasure to have you here tonight with your working dog, Herco. Herco was Mark's military working dog when Mark was hit in Afghanistan. Along with this year's groups of honorees, Mark, you continue to embody all that the American people expect and appreciate from their military. And it is exceedingly fitting that you, your family, and all of our honorees and their families are here on a night when our nation expresses gratitude to its warriors. Thank you very much, Mark. And now to tonight's awardees. The 6 awardees that I'm about to call to the stage are without a doubt some of America's finest. I know that Catherine is going to read through an in-depth citation for each of the individuals, but I'd like to say a few words about each. Robert Heber is a new Army second lieutenant with a prior career as a non-commissioned officer. Rob made the difficult look easy throughout a combined 9 deployments to Afghanistan and Iraq with the 75th Ranger Regiment. Whether parachuting at night to seize an airfield in Kandahar, or parachuting again to seize an airfield in western Iraq, or fighting in the assault in Baghdad, Rob has made his home over the years at the tip of the spear. Rob is joined here tonight by his wife Gina, son Cannon, parents Robert Sr. and Maria, sister Elizabeth, and Gina's parents Kenneth and Marianne Benway. Sergeant Anthony Arriga repeatedly disregarded his own safety under intense enemy fire in Afghanistan in 2010. Severely wounded, Anthony continued to direct his men in combat, inspiring them to press the fight and to rout the enemy. And he is still inspiring Marines today, this time through selfless work with the Wounded Warrior Regiment, and he's joined here tonight with his wife, Crystal. Chief Petty Officer Brian High, one of the Navy's top unmanned aerial vehicle mission commanders, passed up time at home and volunteered to go where his critical skills were needed in Afghanistan. His expert operation of the Scan Eagle UAV saved countless thousands of lives through timely, accurate intelligence. And he's been given special dispensation to travel here tonight all the way from Afghanistan. I know Brian is thrilled to be joined tonight by his wife Liliana, daughter Kayliana, his parents Jennifer and Patricia Howard, his grandmother Ruth, and Liliana's parents Rafael and Magdalena Sanchez. Welcome home, shipmate, if only for a few days. Petty Officer Third Class Michael Brooks is a Coast Guard intelligence specialist who begged to get a little dirt in his boots. Sure enough, he found himself in the thick of it, providing critical intelligence to ground forces and even performing triage after an indirect fire attack on his base. Joining Mike tonight are his wife Sarah and his parents Jean and Christine. Tech Sergeant Michael Blout, an Air Force Joint Terminal Attack Controller in Afghanistan. Mike led a small quick reaction force to rescue a soldier hit by enemy fire. Mike and his team sprinted for more than a mile through effective enemy fire to rescue his comrade. His team held off the enemy long enough to get the wounded soldier evacuated, and when they fought their way back to enemy friendly lines. Mike is here tonight with his wife Amanda, sons Michael and Isaac, and Amanda's parents Dennis and Cheryl Newman. And representing the U.S. Special Operations Command tonight, Captain William Wright, an Army Special Forces Detachment Commander in Afghanistan, who has been operating in one of the most complex environments on the battlefield. As most of you know, training the Afghan local police and conducting village stability operations are the cornerstone of our entire special operations strategy in Afghanistan. And Will's leadership on the ground, recruiting local police, planning and executing operations, countering IEDs, and reducing mines enabled the Afghan government to establish security and credibility. And it is allowing the coalition forces to assume a supporting role. Will is joined here tonight by his mother, Barbara. And while we are recognizing these great warriors tonight, having just come from Afghanistan last week, I can tell you without hesitation that these types of actions are occurring every night by our young men and women in uniform. And for anyone who ever doubted that America's future is in good hands, they just need to meet our troops, and they will never, ever doubt again. And these 6 represent the very best of this new American generation.